Welcome to Hong Kong Brief. The content of the briefing includes Hong Kong FinTech Week refocuses city's Web3 push on tokenisation and CBDCs. Hong Kong and Guangdong unveil website for cross-border access to public services. Turkish authorities say they have arrested alleged Australian drug trafficker Hakan Ike. Hong Kong's cricketers out of T20 World Cup qualifiers as Bahrain survive scare. EQT revives talks to acquire $6.5 billion global switch, sources say. Hong Kong FinTech Week refocuses city's Web3 push on tokenization and CBDCs. South China Morning Post. Officials in Hong Kong have shown their support for the development of Web3 at this year's FinTech Week, despite the recent JPEX scandal. Speaking at the conference, Secretary for Financial Services and the Treasury Bureau Christopher Hui stated that the scandal would not affect their determination to grow the Web3 market. The conference focused on tokenization and cross-border transactions, as well as expanding the use of digital yuan and Web3 technologies. The Securities and Futures Commission, SFC, also released two circulars outlining requirements for tokenized securities. Cross-border payments and blockchain projects were also highlighted during the conference. Several panel discussions were dedicated to tokenization, with an emphasis on real estate. However, industry players called for more regulations relating to virtual assets, including over-the-counter operations and crypto derivatives. Despite the support for Web3, there are concerns that the market is not poised for an immediate comeback, with investors reducing their Web3 investments. Hong Kong and Guangdong unveil website for cross-border access to public services. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong and Guangdong have launched a one-stop online portal to provide access to public services for people and businesses on both sides of the border. The portal will cover services such as tax filing, license renewals or applications, and company registrations. The initiative aims to improve connectivity in the Greater Bay Area and is part of efforts to develop a digitalist government and smart cities. The portal provides access to more than 50 online government services, including areas such as taxation, company registration, real estate, vehicle inquiries and registration, identification documents and immigration applications, welfare and education, and healthcare. Hong Kong residents in the Greater Bay Area can register for or upgrade to IM Smart Plus in Guangdong Province to access the services, while mainland residents in Hong Kong can access public services offered by Guangdong. Turkish authorities say they have arrested alleged Australian drug trafficker Hakan Ike. ABC. Turkish officials have arrested Australian fugitive Hakan Ike, who is allegedly involved in an international organized crime ring. Ike was detained in Istanbul after a raid, and the Turkish government published a video of the arrests, showing armed special agents and narcotics officers apprehending various individuals and seizing weapons and foreign banknotes. Ike is wanted in Australia for drug trafficking and is also wanted by the US. He was dubbed the Facebook gangster in Australia and has been on the most wanted list in New South Wales for over a decade. In 2021, Ike unknowingly helped distribute an encrypted messaging app that Australian police used to bring down alleged criminals in an international operation. Turkish Interior Minister Ali Yerlikaya said that Ike was involved in global drug trafficking, manslaughter, looting, and money laundering. The Australian Federal Police has officers posted in Turkey and is aware of Ike's arrest. Hong Kong's cricketers out of T20 World Cup qualifiers as Bahrain survive scare. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's hopes of qualifying for the T20 World Cup next year were dashed after losing to the United Arab Emirates, UAE, by 22 runs in their last Group B game. Chasing 177 for victory, Hong Kong's batting faltered and wickets fell too regularly for them to maintain momentum. Yassim Murtaza was a bright spot for Hong Kong, taking 3 wickets for 14 runs in his 4 overs. UAE finished with a score of 176 for 6. Bahrain, who beat Hong Kong on Tuesday, will face Oman in the semi-finals, while UAE will face Nepal. The 2 finalists will qualify for the T20 World Cup. EQT revives talks to acquire $6.5 billion global switch, sources say. Bloomberg. Private equity firm EQT AB is reportedly in discussions to acquire data center company Global Switch Holdings Limited in a deal that could value the company at around $6.5 billion. EQT is in talks with Global Switch's Chinese owners, and an agreement could be reached in the coming months, depending on the outcome of due diligence. Global Switch's owners have been exploring options for the London-based data center operator since 2019, and EQT was among the buyout firms that were in the final round of bidding for the company. Deliberations are ongoing and a deal is not guaranteed. ASML China export curbs came too late, Dutch PM frontrunner says. Bloomberg. Dylan Jesselgaas-Sigerius, the leading candidate in the Dutch elections, has said the Netherlands should have acted faster to limit the export of ASML's high-tech chip-making machines to China. The US has been working with the Netherlands and Japan since last year on restrictions to curb China's technological advancement and prevent it from gaining a military edge. The export bans on Dutch companies, which come into effect from January, were implemented at the behest of the US, but have angered some Dutch lawmakers who see them as impinging on the Netherlands' sovereignty. Hong Kong greenlights tokenized securities in further digital push. Nikkei Asia. The Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission, SFC, has issued guidelines allowing fund managers and other regulated intermediaries to issue tokenized securities. The SFC described tokenized securities as blockchain-based tokens that represent or aim to represent ownership in an investment product. The move is aimed at increasing product efficiency and reducing operational costs by reducing reliance on intermediaries. The SFC also emphasized the need for proper record-keeping and relevant staff experience for tokenized funds. Tokenization of real-world assets on the blockchain has been praised by large financial institutions such as JP Morgan Chase and Citi. Hong Kong stock market operator to launch retail fund platform. South China Morning Post. The Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing, HKEX, has announced plans to develop a platform to support asset management companies in selling retail funds, in a move that is expected to broaden the market and support plans to turn Hong Kong into a global wealth management center. The platform, which will cover the full distribution cycle of retail funds, will make it easier for money managers and their sales partners to sell fund products, attracting more companies into the market and creating more choice for investors. Xi Jinping tells North Korea's Kim he can make greater contribution to ties. South China Morning Post. Chinese President Xi Jinping has pledged to strengthen China-North Korea relations and make a greater contribution to protect regional peace and stability. In a letter to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, Xi said the traditional friendship between the two countries was growing stronger and that he hoped North Korea would achieve new gains in socialist construction. This is the third exchange of letters between the two leaders this year, with communication taking place via letters following the lockdown of North Korea's borders due to the COVID-19 pandemic. BYD gains ground and the US races for AI rules. Nikkei Asia. Chinese electric vehicle (EV) manufacturer BYD is set to overtake Nissan in overall sales in Q4 2021, according to Nikkei. The automaker sold 824,001 passenger vehicles between July and September, compared to Nissan's 824,354. BYD's cost competitiveness is a significant advantage, due to its vertical integration, making core components in-house, which reduces costs and speeds up the development of new models. By contrast, Nissan has struggled to adapt to the EV market in China, and has faced competition from domestic EV startups. The Japanese automaker is also losing market share for internal combustion engine vehicles. BYD is also expanding its presence in Japan, releasing 2 EV models and planning to increase its dealership network in the country to 100 locations. Morning update: Ottawa caps immigration target as affordability concerns grow. The Globe and Mail. The Canadian government has frozen its target for permanent residents to be welcomed into Canada at 500,000 for 2026, despite a chronic shortage in construction workers, which is contributing to a housing crisis. Immigration Minister Mark Miller acknowledged that housing was among the factors considered. Recent polling has shown that there has been a sharp drop in public support for immigration over the past year, as Canadians increasingly link affordability and housing concerns with an influx of newcomers. 5 SMBC debt capital markets bankers leave Hong Kong office. Bloomberg. Head of Capital Markets APAC ex-Japan at SMBC Nikko Securities, Leo Tong, and 4 other bankers have left the firm's Hong Kong office. Tong was hired in 2020 to expand the firm's Asian fixed-income business outside of Japan. The departures come as debt capital market deals in the region have slowed this year, with Chinese issuers selling only $37 billion of dollar notes compared to $67 billion in the same period last year. SMBC Nikko declined to comment on the departures. China's 2024 growth may even beat 2023, ex-PBOC advisor says. Bloomberg. China's economy could grow at a faster pace in 2023 compared to this year, according to former central bank advisor Huang Yiping. He suggested the growth potential is currently around 5% to 5.5% and could increase if things go well next year. The Chinese government last month announced further support for the economy amid challenges from weak consumer and business confidence and an ongoing property crisis. However, Huang warned that investor and entrepreneur confidence remains a key question that needs to be addressed. Narrative analysis shows Israel's borders are safe, for now. South China Morning Post. Dr. Richard Harris, CEO of Port Shelter Investment, discusses the use of narrative analysis to predict future events. He argues that by analyzing event narratives, we can gain an insight into the future because it illustrates the power of the wisdom of the crowd. He uses the example of the current conflict between Israel and Gaza to demonstrate how analyzing search frequency of certain keywords can give an indication of the current narratives and what the crowd is thinking. China's male leaders signal to women that their place is in the home. New York Times. China's President Xi Jinping has told the country's Women's Congress that Communist Party officials should influence young people's views on love and marriage, fertility, and family. The country is in the midst of a demographic crisis, with its population shrinking as its birth rate plummets. Officials have been concerned about the rise of feminism in China, and the party has chosen to push women back into the home, in a bid to encourage them to marry and have children. The party has failed to address many concerns over gender violence, discrimination, and sexual harassment, and feminists and advocates have been jailed. The Women's Congress is organized by the All China Women's Federation, which promotes party policies. Dear viewers, I am Dr. Six, the resident observer from the sixth dimension, here to bring you the latest news from around the world. Today, we have a diverse range of stories, from the fintech industry in Hong Kong to international crime, sports, and global economic trends. Let's dive in. In Hong Kong, officials have shown their determination to develop the Web3 market, despite the recent JPEX scandal. The focus of this year's FinTech Week was on tokenization and cross-border transactions, as well as the use of digital yuan and Web3 technologies. However, there are concerns that the market may not see an immediate comeback, as investors have been reducing their Web3 investments. It seems that Web3 still has some hurdles to overcome before it becomes mainstream. In an effort to improve connectivity in the Greater Bay Area, Hong Kong and Guangdong have launched a one-stop online portal for cross-border public services. This initiative aims to develop a digitalist government and smart cities, providing access to more than 50 online government services. It's a step towards greater integration between Hong Kong and mainland China, making it easier for residents and businesses on both sides of the border to access public services. Turning our attention to international crime, Turkish authorities have arrested Australian fugitive Hakan Ike, who is allegedly involved in an organized crime ring. Ike has been on the most wanted list in Australia for over a decade and is wanted for drug trafficking and other crimes. His arrest is a significant development in the fight against global drug trafficking and organized crime. In sports news, Hong Kong's hopes of qualifying for the T20 World Cup have been dashed after losing to the United Arab Emirates. While it's disappointing for Hong Kong's cricket team, Bahrain has survived a scare and will face Oman in the semi-finals. The T20 World Cup qualifiers are heating up, and we can expect some exciting matches ahead. Shifting our focus to the business world, private equity firm EQTAB is reportedly in talks to acquire data center company Global Switch Holdings Limited in a deal that could be worth $6.5 billion. This potential acquisition highlights the growing importance of data centers in the digital age and the value they bring to the market. Meanwhile, in the Netherlands, the leading candidate in the Dutch elections has criticized the government for not acting faster to limit the export of high-tech chip-making machines to China. This issue highlights the global competition for technological advancement and the delicate balance between economic interests and national security. In Hong Kong, the Securities and Futures Commission has issued guidelines allowing fund managers and other regulated intermediaries to issue tokenized securities. This move is aimed at increasing efficiency and reducing operational costs. Tokenization has gained praise from large financial institutions, and it's exciting to see Hong Kong embracing this technology. In an effort to develop Hong Kong into a global wealth management center, the Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing has announced plans to launch a platform to support asset management companies in selling retail funds. This move is expected to broaden the market and provide more choices for investors. Moving to international relations, Chinese President Xi Jinping has pledged to strengthen China-North Korea relations and protect regional peace and stability. This demonstrates China's commitment to its neighboring countries and its desire to be a key player in maintaining peace and stability in the region. In the automotive industry, Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer BYD is set to overtake Nissan in sales in Q4 2021. BYD's cost competitiveness and vertical integration have given it an advantage in the market. This highlights the rapid growth of the EV market in China and the challenges traditional automakers face in adapting to this new era. In Canada, the government has frozen its target for permanent residents at 500,000 for 2026, despite a shortage of construction workers contributing to a housing crisis. This decision reflects the concerns of the public, who are increasingly linking immigration with affordability and housing concerns. It's a delicate balancing act for the Canadian government to address these issues while maintaining a diverse and inclusive society. In finance news, 5 debt capital market bankers have left SMBC Nikko Securities' Hong Kong office, as debt capital market deals in the region have slowed this year. This is a sign of the challenging market conditions and the need for companies to adapt to changing circumstances. Looking at the global economy, a former central bank advisor believes that China's economy could grow at a faster pace in 2023 compared to this year. This is an optimistic view, considering the challenges China has faced in recent years, including weak consumer and business confidence and an ongoing property crisis. However, confidence among investors and entrepreneurs remains a key question. Finally, in an interesting analysis, Dr. Richard Harris discusses the use of narrative analysis to predict future events. By analyzing event narratives and search frequency, we can gain insights into what the crowd is thinking and anticipate future developments. It's a fascinating approach that highlights the power of collective wisdom. That's all for today's news. I hope you found these stories informative and entertaining. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about the development of Web3 in Hong Kong? Do you believe China's economy will grow at a faster pace in 2023? Let's start a discussion and explore these topics together. Remember, the sixth dimension is always here to bring you the latest news and insights from around the world. Stay curious, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do brief via email.